Yo, what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions, episode 383. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? How's it going?
Carlos Romero.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Brian Manjoma.
I'm certain that the same Square-Enix that made the Final Fantasy statue is not the same one that thought of the NFTs.
Yeah.
That's two different squares there.
Oh, man. I don't think... That's not an official statue, though. I think that was just...
Oh, yes, it is.
Whoa.
Yeah, that $3,000 statue is...
The one... with the one you could take the clothes off. Like...
Oh, no. Not that. That's not a statue. That's not official.
Okay, I was about to say, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm talking about the one with, Tifa. Yeah.
The $3,000 statue is from Final Fantasy 3, Final Fantasy 6.
I'm talking about the one with Tifa and doing that very suggestive pose. And the one who...
Brian, which one were you talking about?
No, yeah.
The Tifa one.
Oh, no, that's not Square at all. That's not official.
Yeah, that's a Chinese knockoff, I'm assuming,
Thailand, I think.
Hey, remember Thailand now belongs to China. Isn't that what they try to say or something like that?
No, it's not Thailand. It's Taiwan.
Oh, Taiwan. I get them mixed up. I'm sorry about that. I'm a fucking Westerner. I'm ignorant about this shit.
Dude, Thailand. That's the Saga.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. See, you got to explain to me like I'm a gamer,
Yeah.
Apologies to the Taiwanese people, obviously, and the Thailand people, my bad. I love Thai food. Thai food's good,
Yo, man, now you got to apologize to Taiwan in Chinese.
Yeah, I'm not John Cena, man. I never learned that language. Which Chinese? There's like 50 Chinese languages,
I mean, Mandarin is the common language.
I just know ni hao, and that may not even be Chinese. I don't know.
It is.
Yeah, that is, but that might
be Mandarin. I don't know. I do not know. I don't know any. I don't know any Chinese at all. Ni hao. I don't even know what ni hao means. That's like the only word I know. Oh, I mean, cool. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's a good word to know. I could have been a curse,
No, not ni hao.
Yeah. All right, man. Logic. Stop being a pervert. Anyway. So no Chris action, no Adam action, and Brett may show up, not show up. I don't know. And also, I want to wish a happy Mother's Day for those who celebrate it. Even though I'm like, who doesn't celebrate it?
Everyone that's not in the U.S. right now.
Yeah, that's right. Because like in like 2 weeks, there's a Dominican's Mother's Day. Like what? You get two? You're being greedy right now. But yeah, shout out to all the moms out there. And the single dads too. Can't forget about them.
Well, they get a Father's Day too.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Because on Father's Day, you also got mothers in there going, like, hey, what about me? Everybody gets props. How about that? You should consolidate this shit. Parents Day. Listen, they did it with presidents. Man, you remember when we were kids, man? They had Lincoln and Washington, right? We had 2 days off. Then these motherfuckers make it President's Day. I'm like, come on, man.
Yep.
I'm bullshit. All right, man. Let's get into it, man. We got questions tonight. A couple questions here. All right, we're starting off with Ace Ali. So he goes, with the outage of services once again highlighting the need for game preservation and native offline compatibility, do you see this as something that companies will budge on, or is it something that consumers will eventually lose the battle with? Xbox has been pretty bad with the DRM requirement, but PlayStation and Nintendo aren't perfect by any means either. Will gamers continue to be able to buy a console, plug it in, and play a game without the need for an internet connection in the future? Or will the current Xbox model prevail and online check-ins will be a mandate across the board moving forward? Before we answer the question, just some context. There was a big Xbox outage this weekend. I don't, admittedly, it's the weekend. I don't fuck around with Xbox. I had no idea what was going on. I saw little twinklings of it or whatever, but I was like, oh, Xbox is down again, whatever. I didn't realize this was apparently a big outage. Like even like some big people were talking about it, so just so you guys understand the context. So yeah, so he's basically asking, like, does this bode ill for the future of all digital? Like, will there ever be a time where you don't get your traditional console, all that? We've discussed this before, but I think it's worth going over it again, especially in light of all this, right? And my take on, I don't know if I already got my take on it. I may save it for later. Manny, why don't you go first, because you are very much a physical proponent.
Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm a proponent for physical stuff, but I'm not so daft to think that it'll be something that'll stay. These are the problems that we're going to have to deal with the digital age, and that's a disappointing thing, right? Where essentially that you have games that literally currently right now that even are on disc that need to call home, and the minute that happens, you can't play something like that. Now, why is that? To be honest, we shouldn't be so overzealous to think that, we're always going to be online. And I feel like there should be some sort of plan for this when you have these sort of outages. When the electric company loses power, or when your cable goes down, they'll give you a discount. Same shit should happen to fucking Xbox or any one of these other companies. Give you a whatever amount of that time that they were offline, because that's something you've been paying for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just reading up on this. This is actually pretty serious. So apparently there were 2 outages. The first one lasted 9 hours, right?
Okay.
And the second one, I can't see how long it lasted, but anyway, Carlos, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, everything Manny said is spot on. I mean, we're moving into a different sort of realm of gaming where a lot of it is dependent on always being online. Like we joked about it during the Xbox One launch, where it's like, oh, always online, crucified them. Don Matrick, I mean, deservedly so, though.
Yeah.
But it did end up turning up to be an inevitable, future or present for us now. There's games that are always online that it's like, really? Resident Evil 2 remake online? I have to be online to get onto this game. Yeah, it's unfortunate. I do understand and see the perspective from the sort of the preservation gamer, especially those that buy all their games physical and try their best to sort of live a way of of yesterday. But it's unfortunately being dwindled out, and I don't see us ever going back to that.
Once you have something taken away from you, they never give it back.
Right. So I do sympathize with those people. For me, and obviously I wasn't playing anything during that time, but if I went through that outage, I would have just done something else. But but I do understand people who are playing, with their friends and stuff. They have planned activities. That's all they do sometimes. It does suck, but hopefully, some people can learn to do something else. In the meantime, it's not the end of the world. It is several hours, but maybe you can watch a season of Ozark or Game of Thrones or something like that.
Go see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, you can go see that movie.
Your reaction to it, man. It's gonna be me. I bet you. Anyway, go on.
Oh, it's gonna be you multiplied by a multiverse of hatred.
Yeah, because me, I'm very more critical about these movies than you are.
Manny, you saw the movie. Tony's not gonna like this shit.
I think he'll like parts of it.
Yeah, but let's not go down the Doctor hole. The Doctor hole.
I feel like there are fun Sam Raimi things that outweigh some of the just plot silliness.
Yeah, just remember, Manny, because you were there with me when we both saw Spider-Man. Remember the first thing I said to you when the movie was over? I turned to you. I'm like, "Wow, that movie was stupid." So yeah, keep that in mind. Anyway, Carlos, go on, man.
But yeah, it's something we're never gonna go back to, unfortunately. And what's it called? I forgot. I lost my train of thought. But yeah, I do sympathize with the people that are, because I see a lot of people online that are always, they always show pictures of whenever they buy games, they always buy them physical. And for me,
Like
I'm
my
just thinking,
brother.
it's like it's something that people still do, and I see them and I'm like, man, I don't see how they do it, but I understand it. Like, well, I don't see myself doing that, but I understand it, and
It's a thing, man. Like, I don't know, like getting something new and actually being able to hold it. I don't know. There's something about it, even if it is that sort of half-assed game, game releases that they do now, right, where they don't have any books and any additional
mhm,
extras.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's it's not gonna come. It's gonna get worse for those people more than it's gonna get better.
Yeah. Brian, what are your thoughts, man?
Just lots of things to look at. To be fair, my first thought is always, if the game doesn't work, is that the fault of Microsoft because they say that okay, you must have DRM in the game, or is it the fault of the developer making the game call back home to some degree? And that's what that's where my thoughts lie at the moment. Because again, I totally agree with what Carl said. This is only going to get worse, and it's unfortunate that so many games have to rely on a server somewhere to make the game run. Because, as we all know, at some point in time, someone will go in, turn the servers off, and then what will happen? Like, you mentioned with Resident Evil, so what happens when someone just turns off those servers? Like, can
Right.
you not play the game anymore?
Elden Ring is another one. Big time.
Yes, it just boggles the mind. Like, and some of these games you don't really need the online compatibility side of things because it's again, if it's an offline single player focused game like Resident Evil, why does it need to talk to a server somewhere? It has no business doing so. Like there is nothing gained from talking to a server apart from I, I don't know, Microsoft or Sony or Capcom verifying that okay, this game is legit. But even then, it's being played by one person somewhere. It should not have any type of online requirement at all. So I find that to just be very odd, and maybe it'll go the way of the online passes stuff, where people will do it for a while, and then people will complain about it, and then eventually it'll just be lifted, and hence we'll get back to a point where maybe the single player games just exist as an offline game in general.
It's funny because nowadays it's not so much in the forefront. Like it's not like they're saying that, like on the even on the back of those of the things they don't say, at least the single player things, they don't usually say must have online connection, which they should, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they don't, and it's and I said this before, right? I've had issues where like I'm playing Dragon Quest 11 or Final Fantasy 15 single player games, no online whatsoever, where my internet's acting up and the games start acting funny. I'm like, isn't that interesting? You know?
It's like
Oh,
why do you,
Brett is in the house. What's
Got
going
it
on?
finally.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I pretty much agree with I've agreed with everything that's been said so far. And here's the thing, right? And I'm glad we're talking about this because I want to make this. I got to make this disclaimer first before I get into it, right? If it were up to me, we'd still be using discs. We wouldn't have any games online whatsoever. With that said, I realize this is the future, and I'm taking it further than what has been discussed. There's going to be a time, I'm telling you right now, where consoles don't exist anymore. No consoles. It'll just be streaming only. I know that's kind of hard to like imagine for people like us who grew up with this stuff. But think about it like this: 20 years from now, right? You are 15 years old. Are you going to be looking back like those guys were fucking weird buying consoles and games? It's an app in my TV. You know, that's the way it's going. I'm not happy about that. But that's the way it is. You can't, like Manny said, once this shit is open, you can't put it back. So
Now,
yeah.
let me ask you something. Hasn't that only happened with like um, online streaming and everything like that because we've had an excess of power, right?
Explain.
like you don't need more processing power to be able to watch your TV shows at 4K. Any 4K TV can handle it. Right?
Oh, you're talking about like input lag and stuff, but I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about in the future,
Yeah,
20,
no,
30 years. You know.
And I understand that, but I'm saying like, wouldn't we have to get to the point where we have an excess of computational power for that to really be realistic? Because until we get to that point, won't there always be a market for supplementary power?
Oh, of course. But I'm saying it's going to happen in our lifetime. It is, you know. We will reach that point, you know, especially and Brett, you know, Moore's law, all that, you know. So we're going to get there eventually, in our lifetime for sure. But in the present future, we're good. You're probably going to get a PlayStation 6. You're probably going to get an Xbox, whatever, you know.
I think we'll still get a PlayStation 10. I just think it'll be a niche item. I think it'll be one of those things where, you know, yes, things. We would get an excess of computation power if we didn't advance video games, right? But like I imagine, as things continue to advance, we'll come to a point where we start, you know, demanding more, file sizes get bigger, et cetera, and it's gonna be, you know, even if it's down to like how we just want the Switch to have a booster cradle kind of thing, like even if it's just down to that, I think there'll be some sort of home hardware component that you know. Either displays in higher graphics fidelity or plays at a higher resolution or with less lag or something. I think there'll always be that booster option.
Brett, here's my question. Do you really need like extra computational power if you're streaming everything?
I mean, it depends.
More depends on your connection.
It would depend. It's really more dependent
on the pipeline.
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to depend on the pipeline. Mm-hmm. Yes, and like if we have the infrastructure and we get to the point where we only have cell phones at home and like supercomputers and that becomes the standard, then sure. But like even as it kind of stands, like PC has kind of been a leveled playing field for a while now, right? And we might have thought that we might have seen streaming or things like that, or even just a more universalized approach come to PC gaming. But we've kind of found that like having those options of being able to access that same content and then kind of tailor your experience, it seems to be important amongst people. So like, I just don't think that the market for, you know, aftermarket game boosters or whatever, I don't think that's ever really gonna go away. It's the spirit of the N64 Power Pack kind of thing. Like, yeah, you can play these standard games, or if you have this thing, you can play them just a little bit better. And I think that crowd is going to be fairly much smaller than it is now. But I think there will always be those niche people that say like, yeah, but what if I want to supercharge my experience?
Yeah, it could be more like, you know how like vinyl is still a thing, obviously not the dominant form of getting music, but it's still a thing. So I guess gaming could go that direction where it's just for super niche like people, you know what I'm saying? Like, because again, most people don't care to upgrade and do all this other stuff. They just want to play the game, you know. And I imagine in the future, just real quick, I just imagine in the future, it's like, dude, if I get my game stream, even right now, GeForce now has a 4K, you know, RTX, all this other stuff option right there. You don't need a beastly computer for that. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, as we've seen, people care more about simplicity than they care about optimization and all that. So, so I think we're probably going to see both of these. It's going to be ultra niche, you know, like a fucking vinyl player that's still around, you know?
I think probably more akin to like a gamepad, like an arcade stick.
Could be.
Like there's ways that you know, the hardcore crowd is going to access this content that maybe is a little bit better, or, you know, more true to experience than everybody else. But like, yeah, I think that. But I think that streaming is here's the problem with that whole worldview is like, we all assume that streaming is just going to be everywhere and at ridiculously high speed. Like, I don't think we've actually cracked the ability to process and transfer data.
This is why I'm saying decades from now. I'm not saying now. I'm making this very clear.
Decades from now. Yeah. No, I know. But I'm saying decades from now, that research would already kind of have to start being laid out. Like, technology, especially infrastructure, takes decades upon decades to come to fruition. And I see nothing in the pipeline that's even going to suggest that even 20 years from now, we're going to have this problem solved.
Well, other countries have already done it. I don't think we're going to be that far. We are far behind. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's going to take us 20 years to catch up to like Japan or Korea or something. Understand?
But even then, Japan and Korea aren't there. And again, even catching up to Japan and Korea, it's not an issue of technology, it's an issue of infrastructure.
Yeah.
And if our country has shown us anything, we don't update our infrastructure.
Until we
By the
have
way-
to. Until we have to.
By the way, breaking
You know,
news! Breaking
what's
news! I just got fiber, so Japan and Korea had to adapt to me, dog.
Oh
Let's
shit,
go.
let's go. Yeah, but again, I can't believe that we're gonna have the same situation we have now. 20 years from now, things are gonna improve. You know.
Well, I mean, 20 years ago we had what?
20 years ago we had fucking modem champs. You know.
Yeah. So I mean, if you look at how much it has increased a lot in 20 years, but you're talking about terms of like viability to just be able to do everything off of it. Like, yeah, it's increased some, but like not that much. We've worked around those limitations.
Yeah.
In terms of being able to cache data and things like that, but like dedicated streaming, not that much better.
I'm disagree, man. I disagree because I remember when I first played. Obviously, this is anecdotal, but just take it as you will. When I first played PlayStation Now, right when it first launched, fucking disaster. It was terrible, right? So when I played Xbox game, it was Xbox Project X Cloud back then, 2 years ago. I expected the same shitty experience. Dude, I played Destiny streaming on shitty hotel Wi-Fi. It was seamless.
Yeah,
it was seamless. So in like 20 years from now, this shit's gonna be fucking flawless. It's already kind of flawless now in a way, if provided you have good internet connection, you know.
And also not to mention the new streaming formats are running a predictive AI.
Exactly, and that's getting better all the time too.
I mean, for movies and stuff, yeah.
No, I'm talking about for games. We're talking about games. This is for
No,
games.
for games, like it's literally a thing that sort of that predicts. I think during the
What you're
Google
gonna
conference
do.
they talked about it. They essentially predicts what you're going to do. So it's almost
Yeah,
like It's almost like new RoboCop, where you're almost not controlling it. You just think you are.
Yeah, that's great. I'm sure that's going to lead to a seamless experience. Like, here's my thing, Tony. Like 20 years ago, yes, you had dial-up, but you could still get around dial-up through building an in-home network that could move its speeds so much faster, right? Like, I don't necessarily see a whole lot of that same gap there. Like, we're starting to kind of catch up in terms of like, well, we can move data a long distance fast, but I don't see, like, do you really think it's going to be that many times faster?
I do actually,
Okay.
and again, it's already here kind of now. If you live with really good dial-up and stuff, I mean, not dial-up, if you have really good internet, you could stream your games just fine. It's almost obviously it is different, but for the regular person, it's indistinguishable at all. So we're already kind of there. So I can imagine 10, 20 years from now, it's going to be even better. But we're kind of going in circles right now. Good question. Thank you for asking that, Ace Ali. Let's go to the next one. Okay, and this is just kind of general right now. This is from Jay Shep, who I believe is in the chat tonight. Let me do a quick check here.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Jay Shep, what's going on?
Shout
All right.
out to Jay Shep.
First question from Jay Shep. I've been equally encouraged and disappointed in the gaming community's response regarding Xbox's recent network outages. There are a lot of influential personalities that have been very silent on the subject. However, a few have spoken positively about change. I'm interested to hear your thoughts as well. What do we just think about the Xbox outage, in general? So I just looked it up. First outage was 9 hours long, and the second outage was 3 hours long. So that's a total of 12 hours. People weren't able to play their games.
And that's all within a day? Or
I believe so. I believe so, yeah. Pretty wild.
Yeah.
Within a 24-hour span, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so my guess is, so I'm gonna try to, and J Ship's here in the chat, but here's what I'm perceiving: a lot of the typical Xbox influencers on Twitter or on YouTube are kind of mum about this, or not holding Microsoft's feet to the fire. Let me know if I'm misunderstanding you, J Ship. That's how I get it. That's how I read the question. And I mean, we already know. We already know there's agendas. There's you have to save face with the people and your crowd. So I do. It always happens. It happens with the PlayStation crowd. It happens with the Nintendo. sometimes people don't hold other things to the fire. So and I am curious though, because usually this is like headline news. When Xbox Live would go down, when PSN would go down, it would make the rounds like crazy. But I guess it does. He does make a point. I didn't see it. I saw Tony's. Tony. I think Tony put it on the group chat. He's like, "Oh, your Xbox is down. Trouble in Paradise or something like that."
That's what I said. Trouble in Paradise.
Oh, that's Manny.
That was Manny. I wasn't. Again, I just learned about this tonight. Because again, I saw a tweet about it, but I just thought it was just the regular run of the mill outage. But Carlos, again, think about when this happened. Weekend during Mother's Day. So and I looked it up. There were. Who the fuck knows? They didn't say.
Was it like an attack, or was it just their?
It was just down. But Carlos, I did look it up. But big sites did report on it though. Engadget, Verge. They did speak about it. But again, it's the weekend. No one's checking this shit.
Yeah.
So I think that's why. I think this has happened during the week. I think it would be bigger news.
Yeah, because I haven't been on Twitter as much today.
Same here. Weekend. Same here.
So I don't.
What's up, Brett?
Hold on a second. I swear I remember a time in the last 3 months that PlayStation went down because I was talking to you guys about how I was having issues playing. And maybe this was 6 months, but my time spans. But there was a time recently where PlayStation went down. Like, nobody reported on that either.
No, for 9 hours though.
Was it out for 11?
Yeah, it was out for overnight.
I wonder if that's why, because this happened during the day. It seems.
Well, I mean, not even to wanted to participate in whataboutism in both cases. Like, is it really like that huge of a news story? Like, if it goes down for like a problem and they identify the problem, like you have to understand, like, shit's gonna go down. That's the nature of the world we live in today. Now the question is, like, is it down for 2 weeks? Did they address it immediately? Does it go down a whole bunch of times? Like, I don't know if an outage is really newsworthy these days.
No, it is.
It is. When Netflix is down, when remember Tony, something that was down recently.
Every single time something is down, any of these services, my site reports on it heavily.
Instagram. When Instagram went down, people were losing their shit.
Yeah, there's I forget the name of it, but basically all these services.
AWS.
Thank you. Yeah, when that shit's down, forget about it. It's all over the news.
And about a year ago, on April 27th, there was a pretty big outage for PlayStation. Maybe that's what you were talking about.
Yeah,
Mike?
and the thing again, I'm sorry, but if your shit is down for the equivalent of a day, that's pretty newsworthy.
Yeah, and that was reported on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
all these outages are always reported on.
Well, no. I mean, I know that they're going to report on, because let's be honest, like, there's not enough shit to report on some days, and people need clicks. But like, I'm talking about like in terms of like the Twitter sphere. Like, I don't remember, and granted, I'm kind of disconnected, but I don't remember a whole lot of people flipping out the last few times things went down, unless they've been down for days.
Oh no, they're always Brett, the fanboys always need that ammo.
Oh yeah, every single time one of them is down, the fanboys are already there on both sides.
Mm-hmm. So this weekend, the one that happened this weekend, I barely saw. Like Manny mentioned, he posted it on the group chat, and that's the only time I saw it.
Yeah.
Tony posted it, and I comment on it, and that's it. That's all we really did about it.
What games is this going to interrupt them from playing?
Halo.
It's definitely gonna do Halo, and it's probably whatever other games that have had like we were talking about before, that have hidden online abilities that they have to call home.
By the way, Drunken Guardian goes, you couldn't play single player games. That was part of the problem. You couldn't play single player games.
There's a lot of games that have those hidden online capabilities that they don't mention in any of the rhetoric with the game.
Yeah. Like I remember there was I remember there was a little bit of a PlayStation outage or whatever. You can play Elden Ring for like an hour, and that's theoretically a single player game,
like I mean, here's the thing, like, even if you're playing it like like not in online mode, you couldn't play it either, right?
Yeah, you couldn't. Yeah. So this is the shit we talked about before, But again, since it was the weekend, I guess that was fortuitous for Xbox. The weekend, not a lot of people that aren't heavily on Xbox noticed. I fucking didn't. Like I thought it was just a regular ass outage. But if this happened during the week, forget about it.
Well, I mean, usually the weekend is probably a point where you would think that there would be a lot of buzz.
Yeah, I'm
about it,
talking about
because
more
that's
new.
when people.
Yeah, but not for the news. The news did report on it, but yeah, it was like
Yeah, no, I
after
mean,
the
obviously during a weekend, you're probably not going to get a lot of news reports because news reports don't usually come on weekends.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you probably would hear more. But I mean, as far as people playing games, usually it's on weekends when people are playing the games the most.
Yeah. And maybe that's another reason why the people who were upset were very, very upset.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, moving on. Another one from Jay Shep here. With the FTC seemingly cracking down on future developer and publisher acquisitions, are we more likely to see less exclusive IPs and more multi-platform games post-acquisition from companies like Xbox and Sony? Are there more deals similar to Sony's acquisition of Bungie that doesn't appear to be a threat to Xbox? I don't understand that last part of the question by the threat. So, J-Shep, maybe you could enlighten this. I'm not entirely sure what you're trying to ask here. Are you saying that our company's going to make more multiplat games, so the FTC doesn't come down on them for being monopolistic? I'm not kind of understanding the question here very much. Unless you guys think you divined it.
I mean, that's an interesting
No,
angle.
that seems like what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's if for example, Microsoft makes all these Blizzard, Activision games multiplayer. So every time there's another acquisition, they're like, oh, they're still going to be played on the competition. So
What does that have to do with anything?
Oh no, I'm just saying, like, it's like you're not.
So they don't get heat on them. Yeah.
It's
but it seems like a false equivalency. Like, why would they be worried about who can play on what systems when really they're worried about how profits are split? Like, that's the point of a monopoly is all the money going to one person. They don't give a shit if you can play all the games that you want on your PlayStation. That's not what motivates them at all.
PlayStation makes profit off of the sales of all those games and that sell for their systems.
No,
I
get what he's talking about. To be honest, it's like, yeah, the FTC only really cares about who's getting all the money off of these things. It doesn't matter what consoles they're available on. They're not talking about like availability of the games. They're talking about how much money is going to this company and how many games or how many IPs or how many companies that they own that are getting it.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, if it really doesn't matter if Sony or Microsoft is throwing decides to throw Call of Duty on every other console, Microsoft is still getting all the money from that.
Most of the money. Yeah,
making a lot of the profits from it.
Yeah, I don't know. I do understand it can be a talking point that they can use, but I also agree with Manny and Brett that the main issue is where most of the profit goes, and how they can manipulate the market by having all that power and all of the consolidation of assets. But yeah, I mean, I do see J-Shep's question though. It's like, well, it's like it could be something that they're what do you call those the people who talk to politicians for corporations. What do you
lobbyists?
Lobbyists,
advocates.
Advocates, lobbyists. I can see lobbyists saying, well, PlayStation and Nintendo still get Call of Duty.
I can see that being their defense to be like, well, look, we didn't change the market all that much, and also somebody's gonna come back with, yeah, but you could.
Right. Right. There's always that where you can rug pull everyone and just make everything exclusive to Xbox Game Pass, make all the benefits, manipulate the market, and acquire more companies in the process. And
now here's my question that I have though. We're talking about a company that is essentially a company that is bound by U.S. monopoly law in comparison to a company that is not bound by U.S. monopoly law, or another company that is not bound by U.S. monopoly law. Like, at what certain point do we can watch over the acquisitions that Microsoft has, but we can't watch over the acquisitions that Sony or Tencent have, which are the two bigger players in the industry. At what certain point, which like we rule something would be a monopoly, only to have it go to a foreign company, do we go, oh, well, maybe we should just kind of not worry about that so much next time? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I understand our concern, but is it fair or even proper to enforce the rules when only one of the three biggest companies gets held accountable to those rules? And if so, like, how long do we keep those rules?
That's not to say that there isn't monopoly rules within at least within Japan. I don't know about China.
I know that there's not in China. I don't know in China they don't give a shit. I don't know what it is with Japan, but because I can see this becoming not an issue so much of like, oh well, we're choking our own industry as much as we're choking another person's industry. And classically, countries don't necessarily have a huge problem with that. They call that competition.
Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest, like China owning like a bunch of different companies within the United States and buildings and things, that's all fair game, right?
Yeah, well, especially if we're talking about like Activision, like so, okay, now we're having like Activision. Let's say they blocked Activision and said, that would make them a monopoly, and then Tencent goes over and takes them up. Like, cool, well now the largest producer has become an even bigger shareholder in the industry, and we've sold off an American company to a Chinese investors now. So like, I understand where the monopoly laws come in. I'm just curious, like, do you guys really think they're going to hold up when we start dealing with international corporate?
It's a good question. I honestly don't know the answer. I can't even speculate.
That's a really interesting question because how many companies can like a foreign company, how much can they actually own within the United States until it sets off the our system, right?
I don't think we have laws against that. It's actually been a problem with China buying up so much real estate. Like China owns way too much land in the United States simply by buying it, but there's not any locks on that. So I don't think there's anything.
It's all within. Yeah, it's all within. It seems like it's all within stuff within companies that are in the United States. But yeah, who's to stop another country from taking over and buying as much real estate and buying as much companies as they can? And they sort of have been.
Yeah.
Interesting question.
Personally, I think, just to answer my own question, because I think it'd be fair unfair if I didn't. I think the first time we see a monopoly blocked here and then it's picked up by Tencent, you're going to see a real quick reversal on that. All right, you know what? Just buy whatever you want. We don't care anymore.
Yeah. All right. Moving on here. Mob hits. First question: would a Square-Enix merger / acquisition look bad at this time, given everything that's going on? So about more of the optics, The
optics. I mean, to be honest, I don't know if it would be seen bad. I do think that if Sony did manage to merge or whatever they want, whatever the rumors are saying.
Yeah, Chris's theory that he proposed, where basically they kind of go ahead.
Well, it's weird because Chris had the theory, and then the day after, people are starting to talk about rumblings of a Square-Enix acquisition.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, definitely, but I don't, like whatever they're sort of that's the idea. I don't know if it's how does that even work? It's like if it's okay, they're obviously not acquiring them, they're supposedly merging, creating a new division.
Yeah, because remember, Japanese companies don't buy each other out. Typically, they merge. Again, this is why you literally have Square-Enix, right? Mm-hmm. Squaresoft and Enix. But the way Chris broke it down, and I obviously can't detail as eloquently as he can, but he was just basically saying they would start kind of buying more and more of the company and then make them a division of Sony, right? Something along those lines. I may have butchered that, but that's what Chris proposed.
Yeah, it was like they have this acquisition division, and whatever company that they merge with, it would merge with the acquisition division and then be folded back into the main company.
Yeah. so it's not a full. It is a buyout, but it isn't. That's how they can kind of skirt
in everything
around
but
it.
name.
Yeah,
Which I
exactly.
can understand.
Yeah.
In Japanese culture, like saving face is kind of a thing, so I can understand. Be like, no, this was a mutually agreed upon thing. Like, oh, so neither of you subordinate to the other one. They're like, we didn't say that.
Yeah, exactly. So if this happens, that's how it's going to go down. Because remember, Japan very different than the way it's done in the West. But again, that is more likely to happen than like say Microsoft doing that with Square. It's not going to work that way. Japanese companies aren't going to play nice like that. There's even laws against it in their country.
But interestingly, we right after we talked about the podcast about selling internal studios that have IPs, like the next day we had talked about Square selling off their IPs the same way, didn't?
That was the same. That was the same show.
It was the same show. Because remember, they did sell off the Western division, and
They
that's what Chris
that's
proposed too. He's like, hey, they're cheaper now. They're easier.
Yeah, he said essentially his theory is that they're not only they're selling off those divisions to make those to make it more attractive for a merger or whatever.
For somebody. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, to make it more bite sized. Able to be picked up. Yep.
Pretty much.
I mean that makes sense, and Square has not been like hitting it out of the ballpark all that much lately.
Yeah, especially according to their projections.
Yeah, let's
we should take that back though. Final Fantasy 14 has been a monster fucking success, like in the industry itself.
Yes,
but
there's no but. It has been,
not to mention the new.
They're literally a Japanese equivalent of fucking Rockstar. Rockstar only has one game that's making them money.
Are you talking about the new online expansion they did?
No, I'm talking about Final Fantasy 14 as a whole. This thing has been a monster for years. It's been their biggest selling game for years. That is what's keeping the company up. That's not an opinion, No,
I agree with that. But the problem with that is like that is not a new game. And if you look at their other kind of evergreen title, which is their online, they're both kind of coming to a close.
Not 14. 14's still chugging along just fine.
Seriously?
Dude. Yes.
I thought like it's reaching the end of its natural lifespan.
No, it's not. It just got a new refresh. They keep refreshing it every single year.
They keep fixing. They keep adding stuff to it. And as far as Final Fantasy fans are, they say it's literally the best Final Fantasy story that they have ever experienced.
Yeah, this game is. Brett, I'm not being facetious when I say this is their equivalent of GTA 5. That GTA 5 is not a new game. It's still the top earner for Rockstar. The Square Enix, Final Fantasy 14 is their top earning game, and it has not slowed down. It keeps ramping up. In fact,
I don't understand how they keep and that's I think why I'm confused. I'm like I keep feeling like they made this game, but now they're remaking it. I don't.
Well, they did remake it before. Remember Realm Reborn? And after that, it's like even especially during the pandemic,
hold on. No, we are talking about the same fucking game. We're talking about Realm Reborn, the online game.
Yes, the online game.
Well, then, that's what I was saying. It is not a new game. It is reaching the end of its natural
No, it's not. It just got revamped again with another expansion, dude.
Yeah, and the community is generally agreeing upon that this is like one of the last expansions. In fact, I think they've come out and said so far that like they've definitely reached the end of their roadmap.
I haven't heard that, not from Square Enix and not from the fans.
Anybody else who's familiar with MMOs, like please chime into me. But like this is the definite conclusion I came to when I was researching it just a few months ago. Like they have one more big expansion in the works, and then it's kind of like, and people are kind of concerned with the fact that they're getting diminishing returns, and the thing is jumping the shark. The way
I don't know what the hell you read, because I keep reading this thing making more and more money every single month.
Yeah, it's constantly one of the top. I mean, not the top, but decent performers on Twitch.
Yeah,
I don't think that we're saying entirely different things.
No, I don't. Yeah. But I don't understand what you're saying. Where it's the end.
Yeah, it's not at all. Not even close. I can see this game going for another 5 years.
I'm gonna check up on that. Let me figure out where I was picking this up at.
Yeah, please.
But these types, and Brett mentioned, the history of MMOs. And the history of MMOs is they'll keep going as long as they keep making all the money. And right now, they're doing the best that they've ever had. They Final Fantasy 14. Every time Square Enix has what's it called, fiscal year release or anything, they always mention this fucking game.
Yeah, because it's the biggest earning game. That's why.
That's their breadwinner. And,
oh, okay. That's what it was. They're ending this game's storyline.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
That's
with this
yeah,
latest
yeah.
expansion. That's what it is.
Yeah,
So I
there
guess
we
they may decide to launch a new storyline after that.
They probably will.
My point,
Yeah.
my point is that it's kind of like WoW in its heyday, right? Like you can keep this evergreen title going for as long as you want, but once it's the reason they haven't rolled over and made a sequel. It's because that's generally a good way to kill this kind of thing. And historically, these companies haven't been able to capture lightning in a bottle twice. So you're probably right. They probably will come out with a couple other expansions, but it's one of those, at least in my mind, like you may be able to ride this a little bit longer, but it's not the lifetime game that you guys kind of want it to be.
Well, I mean, with
I don't
lifetimes we've
see-
never.
Yeah. Go ahead, Carlos.
We're not old enough to know what a lifetime, if there will ever exist a lifetime game. WoW is probably one of the closest ones, but I mean, WoW's only been out for since 2004, so it's not even been that long. It's barely been out for, over a few generations. The thing with MMOs that I've noticed is they'll last as long as the people that will still make them a profit, and it's really risky to come out with a WoW 2 or an EVE Online 2 or a Final Fantasy 14 2 or whatever the next Final Fantasy MMO is, because not only do you risk releasing a title that's not gonna capture as big of an audience as your previous installment is, but you'll be eating at your previous installment's audience, and you might not hit lightning in a bottle twice. These games, they're one in a million. Their MMOs come out all the time, and most of them don't ever see the light of day after a year or two.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna be very careful what I say because I don't want to out anybody, but I know a writer was hired by a pretty big site. His only job is to cover Final Fantasy 14, and he says he is making more money than he ever thought he would as a writer.
Oh no!
All he's doing is just Final Fantasy 14, so he obviously has enough content to talk about every single day.
Nope, you're right. I have to kind of pull a retraction here. I was seeing that this is the finality for this version's story, but they do anticipate it to go like another decade. So
yeah.
I was wrong in the sense that like when I heard they were finishing up the story, I'm like, oh, so they're finishing up the
It's
story.
over.
Like, oh, no.
Yeah.
No, they're just gonna make a new story. Like, okay, so yep. I will however stand by the fact that like I think that while it's great to try and maintain that kind of thing, knowing the life and death and the history of MMOs, like counting on that to hold your company up for the next 10 years is not a wise decision.
Yeah. But this leads back to maybe this is why they're seeking to the merger, right?
Sorry, Tony. Yo, Brett. Well, that's where the NFTs come in.
Of course.
I've done it.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's move on here. Next question, also from Mob Hits. All right. With the recent news that Xbox is releasing its streaming device along with a TV app, I'm guessing you mean streaming device. But am I missing something?
Streaming dongle? Was that the thing?
That's right. They did propose that. Anyway, are we one step closer to seeing Xbox on other platforms? Dude, we've been seeing this shit going down for years. Yeah. I'm telling you, the first console manufacturer to go all digital will be Xbox. If anyone does it, it's going to be Xbox. They want that app on your TV. They want that dongle, whatever.
I've been saying this for a while now. This is not this is not the beginning.
This is not the beginning, But this is another step, obviously.
Sony could do this so much better.
Yeah.
Because
they tried to
TVs.
Because
they tried to do this already. Here's the thing. Again, the usual toe dip Sony strategy. They did this shit already. There were TVs that had PlayStation Now or on it already.
This.
They had it. You literally during the PS3 era, they had it at that era. In fact, years ago when my mom bought a new television, what did it have on there? It had the ability to run the PlayStation Now, and they fucking let it go through their hand, through their fingers. Because again, toe dipping and not even deciding to pursue it anymore. It should have stayed in every single fucking TV that they have ever put in. But nope.
Can you imagine if they released PlayStation TVs now when people can't even get PlayStations?
Yeah.
It's interesting. But yeah, no, again, this is not a new thing for Microsoft and Xbox. They've been going down this road.
Yeah, that's the whole strategy.
Yep.
They're not looking if they could get away from fucking with consoles at all, they will do that because Microsoft in general, what is their strength? Their
Software.
strength has always been software. This hardware bullshit probably costs them a lot to do. If they could just close the door on all that stuff and have everybody running a digital service off of any one of their TVs or in their PC on their PCs,
all their Windows platforms,
all their Windows platforms,
billions now.
Yeah, that's where they want to be.
This is exactly why Microsoft is going to prioritize getting their shit to run on Steam Deck.
Yeah,
right? Like
I wouldn't be surprised.
There is somebody out there like, we are going to put out I virtually guarantee you, I would be willing to put money down that they will come out with a firmware patch that helps with compatibility with Steam Deck.
Well,
Brett,
it already works with Steam Deck.
Oh, I know, but they're still probably gonna what's the word I'm looking for? Make better. They're gonna make it better.
Good.
There you go. Yeah.
Gonna get good.
Well, I mean, all you need is a web browser now, so
yeah,
any device that has a web browser could probably pull that off. But yeah, it's crazy. Microsoft is in a prime position. I would honestly, if you put, and this is an interesting question that I want to pose to the panel. If you were to say, hey, I'll put you at the CEO or the head or an investor in something like on Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, it's like, who would you be? And for me, I would put Microsoft, because Microsoft is in a prime position to not only have all the fucking money in the world with with all the other shit they do, but Xbox Game Pass is in prime position to just fucking lift off. And obviously they can still fuck it up. Who knows what Uncle Phil can do, but it's, just get Game Pass on all the TVs. It's already on the Windows platforms.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If you could take $1,000 worth of free stock from which company, which would it be?
Microsoft.
Oh, Microsoft. Yeah.
That's without question.
Microsoft, yeah.
Microsoft for sure.
Even if it's not, I don't care about the Xbox division in general. How much money they make hand over fist, just in general, because they're so installed within with general computing.
Yes, Microsoft.
Money.
I mean, Microsoft is like the top 5, in the stock market. Like, those motherfuckers up there.
Oh yeah, it's the first or second biggest company in the world.
Yeah,
depending
like
on the
Apple's. Was it Apple or Amazon? Which one's the number one?
Apple.
Apple. Right? Yeah. I know Amazon's probably in the top 3 as well.
Amazon's like top 5, 10.
Yeah. I'm looking for this chart because somebody, one of these idiots, I was trying to. He linked me to this chart that broke down, Microsoft's profits, and like Xbox was like 9%. He showed this to me because he thinks I'm an Xbot. He wanted to upset me. I'm like, yeah, that sounds about right. Xbox has never been the big money earner for Microsoft. It's a side gig.
If you show me that chart, I've never seen it actually, and 9% seems a lot because Microsoft has a lot of shit. They have Azure, they have Windows, they have like LinkedIn and all these other stuff. Like, they have a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I'm going through my notifications, so this may take a while, but I want to show it to you. But again, he was just trying to show it to me to get me upset because it's funny how on Twitter they think I'm an Xbot, even though I don't own an Xbox. But
and what did he say? What did he say?
No, he didn't say anything. He just linked the tweet, and that, like, he just out of nowhere. It wasn't a reply to anything. He just tagged me with that picture, to try to be like, oh, look, Xbox ain't doing shit for Microsoft.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a genuine, I have no idea type of question. Like, do we know the profit from each of their gaming divisions head to head? Like, do we even know who makes more money?
Microsoft lumps it all together. That's the problem.
That was always a big issue with Chris.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, we don't,
because in general, it's hard for him to it's hard visually to separate where it is, because they're combining a lot of different stuff into a specific division.
Yeah.
So like the context there's no context for these numbers, and so it kind of reminds me of like the old saying,
no,
like,
here's the
data
thing, Brett.
doesn't lie, but liars use data.
Yeah, here's the thing, Brett. They detail everything except the Xbox division, so we could just go, oh, the missing piece, that's how much they make off of Xbox. Because they detail everything else, you know?
So do we actually know is my question. Like, do we know?
We can make reasonable assumptions.
Okay, and where do those put, like, I'm assuming those put Sony ahead on profitability, right?
In terms of money for gaming, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, if this information is readily available, like, what does he think sending you a chart is going to do?
Because he thinks I'm an Xbox, so he's just like,
Why
oh,
don't he just send you, like,
9%, they suck, you know?
So Brett, so Sony makes most of their profits off of, well, at least before the Spider-Man movie. I don't know about after the Spider-Man movie, but Sony's biggest cash cow was PlayStation. And what the reason why he sent Tony the chart is because it's like, oh, well, so PlayStation is the one holding Sony down, but Xbox is only doing 9% of what Microsoft does.
Yeah, it's a gotcha
No,
thing.
but Tony, why don't you just send me a chart that shows me how much less money Microsoft made with their gaming division? Like, all I'd be like is like, oh, well, they made less money, but they've got a big sugar daddy.
Because
like, okay,
fanboys are stupid. They don't think that deeply.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of logic.
There isn't. It's just, hey, look at the numbers. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it's funny how they assume that you would be like, you would be disappointed about it. If the numbers say these things, then that's okay. That's what the numbers say.
Exactly. But again, they see the world through this fanboy prism or whatever, so they think you must also see the world that way too. Because obviously it would upset the
systems.
Yeah, no, but again, they don't know that. All these people know about me is just what they see on Twitter and what they think on Twitter, and they think I'm an Xbox because I like Xbox Game Pass.
Well, what they selectively see on your Twitter. Not even everything that you put on Twitter.
Yeah, because literally the next day I tweeted out that the DualSense controller is the best controller ever. You fucking pony. I'm like, can you guys make up your minds about me, please? Like I'm an Xbox one day and I'm pony the next day. Which is it? Come on, guys.
I just find it funny, like, one way or another, like, it seems like 50% is wrong this way, 50% is wrong this way, 100% are wrong with the idea that you personally take the success or failure of a brand as some sort of personality trait.
It's one of those things, Brett, like if a person is a liar, they assume everybody else is a liar. So if they see the world through the fanboy prism, they think you must be a fanboy too, and you see the world that way themselves. So if they would be upset over Sony losing money, they must assume since you're an Xbox, quote unquote, that you're going to be upset. That's how they see the world. It's very simple,
It's just beautiful. They're like, so you must think 50% of us are wrong, huh? And you're like, no, I think 100% of you are wrong.
Yeah, I think all of you are fucking idiots. How about that? Oh man, it's like with politics. I'm like, no, I think both sides are fucking stupid. How about that?
Yeah, they're both the aliens from They Live.
Yeah, that's right. Get Roddy Piper out here, man. Let's beat some shit up. All right, man. Moving on here. Whoa, sponsored questions. I'm telling you, this guy Ramudeth, man, he's very generous, man. He always takes up these extra questions.
He sounds like an Xbot to me.
He probably is.
He's an Xbot.
He sounds like a fucking bot. At least when I say that name.
It does sound like there's a silent X in that name somewhere.
Does he have the Scorpio logo? Does he have the Scorpio logo on his profile?
I think that M is the Scorpio logo.
Oh, okay.
I got my eye on you, motherfucker. All right. So he's sponsoring some Mob Hits questions. So first one, the Test Your Might bonus question. This is more of a general question now. Who has better fighting game character designs? Capcom or Bandai Namco? Very interesting question.
I like to be honest, I like the Capcom ones better.
Yeah, listen, they got Aki Man drawing them shit, so
they got Aki Man and Bengus
and Bengus,
Shoei doing those designs. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like at least the Tekken guys, they're okay. Like, they're just,
Here's the problem. I mean, I think I could speak for you on this. Generally speaking, when we see Tekken art, it's CG. You and I are more partial to drawings, which is what we generally
Yeah.
see with Capcom. Their
Yeah,
concept art. So we're gonna like that. Just the way me and Manny are programmed, we like
Yeah.
that more.
Even though I have seen some of the concept, like they have this. I forgot the name of the concept artist, and their stuff is kind of cool, but it's also like I feel like sometimes a lot of the at least a lot of that goes through all of the Namco games is that a lot of the fighting games are overly designed. Characters are overly designed.
Yeah.
Like they have this elaborate armor. They have it's almost like it almost follows the aesthetic of a Tetsuya Nomura type of
Yeah,
deal.
yeah.
Yeah,
One thing
where it's like
yeah.
they have all the armor, they have all the textures. I don't know.
One thing I find interesting, like especially with Street Fighter, like the newer characters, they seem overly designed, like
Yes,
from other
yes.
franchises. Like they kind of lost that simplicity, which I really enjoyed. And by the way, obviously, the question is the question, but I wish the question was who has better character design, Capcom or SNK. Now that'd be interesting.
Be an interesting one.
But he said. By the way, what does Bandai Namco have besides Tekken? What else?
Tekken, Soul Calibur,
Soul Calibur. Okay.
and I can't remember the other ones. Those are the big two.
Yeah.
aren't
So
they?
yeah, Capcom. That's kind of an easy win then. That's,
I would go.
yeah.
I would go with
Because
Capcom.
Capcom versus SNK would be a little bit tougher.
But what does Brian think? Because
Yeah.
he is the local Tekken.
That's right, Brian. So Manny and I we're biased. We like drawings.
We're biased.
Go ahead, Brian. What about you?
As a Tekken fan, I don't think I can say much because I'm also biased. So I guess it goes down to Brett.
Oh.
That'd be Capcom.
Okay.
Capcom has stronger character design. Don't get me wrong. I like Bandai Namco's fighting games generally, but like I feel like the characters in Bandai Namco games have more character when you're playing them. They feel more.
I would agree
very-
with that.
I agree with that. Yeah. I
But
agree with
like-
that.
in terms of strict character design, like Capcom nails it. Not just with fighting games, but with a lot of their, especially early games.
Yes.
Like, they had character design nailed down pat. Like you see a silhouette of any of those original Street Fighter characters, you do not hesitate for a second to know exactly who that is.
Yep.
Right?
You're right.
There's no question. You see them out of the corner of their eye. All their moves follow a common theme. They follow common color patterns. Like it's just very well designed. The design is very tight, and it doesn't do a whole lot of like, well, let's just throw like floaty hair and 9 million hairpins and armor, and then like some feathers and like a cape and like 9 million other things. Like they don't do that. They let Chun-Li be thighs. Like that is 90% of what Chun-Li's character design is thighs, right? And they left that fine. Like Guile's haircut, like that is the most ridiculous, weird flat top ever, and it doesn't even act like a normal human flat top, but like it makes for a really good character silhouette. And so, kind of like anime does a lot of things to kind of separate out its characters in ways that aren't necessarily representative of life. Like it nailed that down. You are not going to get more iconic characters than original Street Fighter. You just ain't. Like
Agreed.
even as these guys said, like even new Street Fighter can't really bring it up to that. But yeah, in terms of just straight like that character looks dope as fuck. Like it's always Capcom.
Yeah. Yeah, Brett has the same bias as us. We like those iconic drawings, You can't beat that shit. You really can't. What about you,
I mean,
Carlos? Yeah, go ahead.
Before I move on, I just want to say, like, it's not just bias and opinion. If you look at, and I'm sure Man will probably back me up on this, if you look
No,
at
you're right, the
what
silhouette,
is generally
yeah.
agreed to be a successful character design, part of it is uniqueness, and another part of it is ease of recognition. And,
Yeah.
like, those two things, Capcom has always had more in spades.
Yeah, no, that's not even. Yeah, that's not subjective. That's just a fact. If you could tell a character just by their silhouette, you're good to go. And Brett, I'm even extending that shit even further. Other Capcom games, you put Mega Man silhouette, you know who the fuck Mega Man is.
Nope, I was thinking that the whole
Yeah,
time.
exactly. Captain Commando, all these guys, you know who the fuck it is. Darkstalkers guys, you know. Capcom did fucking the shit back in the day.
Dude, even down to like
Final
like,
Fight,
right? Yeah.
I'm telling you, dude. I'm telling you. Again, Brett, I'm just looking at these characters just in pure silhouette. Cody, Guy, Hagar, you know who the fuck those guys are, Oh, so good. Capcom, man. All right. Carlos, what about you? Who do you think has a more iconic character designs. Carlos, are you still around? He may be checking out the Bebop Budu. I don't know. All right, moving on here. Another question. It's another sponsor one. Reports say that 343 Industries spent much of Halo Infinite's development trying to turn it into an Overwatch clone before nixing the idea and returning to standard PvP. Isn't it better for developers to have an if it ain't broke, don't fix it mindset for established franchises instead of chasing current trends? I'm gonna say yes with a but, right? Yes, you want to keep the core of what made the games iconic and what drew people to it, but you also want to update it so it doesn't become stale. But at the same time, you don't want to emulate what somebody else is doing wholesale, you know?
Yeah, I think a lot of times though, I mean, I also feel like in general the Halo franchise has been on a decline.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I feel like what they were trying to do is sort of revitalize it by by trying to take advantage of current trends. And obviously it was something that was probably a lot more than they could handle. I mean, you know, the thing about video game development is like, as much as you think, oh, you know, hey, just make a good game, it's not that simple, you know.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a team, you know, have the team like those guys over there who've had successes but just slowly but surely, you know, diminishing returns. So they want to be able to do something like that, where, you know, essentially inject some new blood into this franchise that's slowly but surely falling down the steps.
Yeah. So yeah,
So,
it's
but
a
I
balance,
I don't blame them for trying to chase current trends as far as video gaming is, because
Yeah.
again, where, you know, the older generation is getting older and older, and they're maybe not buying games as like they used to. So what you want to do is may want to try to attract the younger crowds. But obviously, it was something they probably couldn't do, and then they, you know, essentially course corrected. A lot of games go into different directions, and they come back. You know.
Yeah. I didn't see the reports, but apparently, you know, they came from Mr. Jason Schreier, among other people. You know, and say what you will about Schreier, he actually does have a pretty good track record. So I could believe that. You know, I could believe that happened. I basically, and that's also part of the reason why the game took so long to be developed, right? They were trying to make it into something it wasn't. They saw it wasn't working, so they went back to basics. Yeah, very interesting situation there. But yeah, all right, we'll move on here. Logic Wins, who's been joining us all night. He goes, "Happy Sunday, guys. Happy Sunday to you as well."
Happy Sunday.
All right. Interesting question. Okay, is the Soulsborne genre a subgenre of the hack and slash genre, or should it be considered two different game genres entirely? If you believe they should be categorized as two different genres, then why? I ask because I'm enjoying the flark out of Jedi Fallen Order on Game Pass, essentially a Souls game with an actual story, LOL, and I find the combat much more engaging than the hack and slash IPs previously mentioned. Interesting how you would describe these games as hack and slash, because they're far from being hack and slash. You need to actually like put thought into the combat in these games. They're not all about combos and shit. You gotta be very mindful, very thoughtful about, because every action matters in these Souls games. And hack and slash just button mashing, you're good to go. You don't really need to think. That's why I kind of generally let me finish. That's why I generally get bored of these games. You could just do literally for most hack and slash, I do the same combo in every game and it works. You know, light, hard, and throw a couple of dodges there. It works every time. That doesn't work in Souls games.
I mean,
you know?
the bosses do have their patterns, and they're just not so they don't punish you for punish you so hard for not following the pattern. Then again, remember playing God of War on extreme difficulty. I mean, it was like difficult to kill off what was it, the water god? I can't remember his name. Leviathan. Poseidon, there we go. Yeah. Like he was fucking hard in that one.
Yeah, well, it's on
And you had-
difficulty, you know.
It was on extreme difficulty, but also you had to really like pay attention to these patterns. Whereas previously on maybe normal mode, you could just keep whacking at him and it would be fine. But you needed to think about it because every single time he hit you, you would like get essentially to wail a shitload of energy away from you.
Yeah,
But it's-
good.
But as far as hack and slashes, I mean,
not a hack and slash.
I don't think it's a hack and slash, but I do think it's an action RPG.
Yeah, I was going to say that. And Brett, I want you to jump in right after I get this thought out. Yeah, the Soulsborne games are their own genre, but they are a subset of the action RPG genre itself. It's actually been historically an action RPG, but as we've seen, it is its own thing now. There are games that are literally copying it. So it's its own genre, but it was a offshoot of action RPG. Brett, get in here because you're the Souls guy tonight. No Chris action, so you lost your partner.
Oh shit! I gotta represent. Okay, I don't think that they are hack and slash games.
No.
I understand why some people may say that. I'm gonna say something controversial now.
Oh, controversial statement coming. Prepare yourself.
If you generally qualify Soulsborne's game as hack and slash, it's because you're not playing them right.
Oh.
You saying you're not good, man.
Well, no, I say this mostly in response to the slew of critiques that I saw for like Elden Ring, talking about like how this was a terrible hack and slash. People were like, well, yeah, because if you treat it like a hack and slash, you're approaching it wrong.
Hold on, Brett, I gotta stop you because, oh my god, I can't agree with you harder right now. Anyway, go on.
They're doing it all wrong.
I agree.
If you're like, oh, it was a terrible hack and slash, like, okay, well, as soon as you say hack and slash, I know I'm like, well, you were taking the wrong approach to this game, because it is not a power fantasy. In fact, it's kind of the opposite of a power fantasy, which is what hack and slash really is. It's you have the power of a god, just murder everything in your way. This is more about being less powerful than just about everything you run into, and the idea of persistence and skill being the thing that carries you forward. And it does so by like having a lot of different elements that aren't necessarily there in hack and slash games, right? You have to manage your enemies. Like, first of all, you will get gang beaten in any Souls game, right? So it's not about killing a bunch of enemies. It's about figuring out where enemies are, how fast they're going to hit you, where they're going to hit you from. It's about timing and spacing. And I don't think timing and spacing really fall into the realm of hack and slash games, because the whole point of a hack and slash game is to be unburdened about that kind of thing.
There is a bit of time. There is a bit of timing to it. Like,
and I'm not saying it's completely foreign to it. I'm saying like the main idea of a hack and slash game is that you don't need to be worried about all of these little things. It's a power fantasy. You're running around just murdering things. Whereas in a more Soulsborne experience, you're very worried about these things. And the middle ground is kind of your adventure RPG kind of thing, where because even in an adventure RPG, Assassin's Creed, not a hack and slash. Zelda, not a hack and slash. Those are more action RPGs with melee, fairly shallow melee combat strides in there. So like, I think a hack and slash, at least to me, very defined thing. It is an action movie that you're playing. It is you are fucking. It's like when you're playing Dante, right? Like, you are just a force of fucking nature. You are Kratos, and you are murdering everything. And the Soulsborne thing kind of established themselves as a different type of game, insofar as that you have to have a fundamentally different approach to it. And I think that.
Oh no, keep going.
No,
that was it. That was it.
Yeah, no, but I didn't realize that people said, "Oh, this is a terrible hack and slash game." That's like me eating a burger. Man, this is a shitty steak.
No,
what is this?
What about something like Ninja Gaiden? The Itagaki editions of those games, which are known for being very difficult games.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a hack and slash too.
It's a hack and slash,
but it's not an RPG though. There's no RPG elements in there.
But there is a lot of timing and spacing that you need to think about. Like, some of the combos that you do can do incredibly great damage, but the thing is that they're hindered by how fast your character goes, or the way, figuring out the timing of the enemy. So it's a hack and slash, but
games, though.
What was that?
Those are usually like Twitch reaction based games.
Not Ninja Gaiden.
Ninja Gaiden was absolutely Twitch based.
I'm with Brett on this one. That's a twitchy fucking game, man.
No, that
you
was
know?
not a not a Twitch
I
game at
played.
all.
I'm like that. It's like
You needed to pay attention to what the enemies were doing in order to prevail, because you could easily get your ass whipped by a bunch of ninjas. Now the thing is, that's not to say that the moves that the guy does look cool. Like, you can do really awesome looking moves, but the thing is that they can do nothing if you're not effective with how you use them.
I don't think anybody's arguing against that, or like timing.
So it's a weird sort of thing, because it's like, obviously, Souls is a lot, very much about your skills, and get like, they're both sort of doing the same thing.
But here's the difference, though. Ninja Gaiden, Devil May Cry, those games, the only real thing, let me finish. The vast majority of what you do in those games is fight. That's the majority of the things you do. In Soulsborne, that's part of it. There's the exploration aspect too. There's no real exploration in hack and slash games.
Yes, no, I mean, the first Ninja Gaiden had a little bit of exploration, but yeah, no, the main focus of the Ninja Gaiden game was to essentially, get to the next level and fight.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So that's also what I categorize as a hack and slash. Just, this is all you're doing the game. That's it. Bayonetta's another one. Hack and slash, pure hack and slash. But I do agree with you. Ninja Gaiden requires a lot more skill, so I'll give you that. Even though in that game I got through it the same way I did every hack and slash game. Light, hard, dodge. Light, hard, dodge. I do the same thing in every game, and it always works. You can't do that shit in Blood.
That first boss in Ninja Gaiden, that freaking guy with the nunchucks, that guy was stupidly hard.
The whole game's stupidly hard, All right, man.
How come nobody was complaining about games not being accessible fucking then?
Well, that was because I was like, was it 16 years ago when people didn't give a shit about that,
The games were still hard then sometimes.
Yeah, like the games are like hard, but nobody was like, going,
here's the funny
I can't
thing.
play this game.
Ninja Gaiden 3, right? That game when it originally came out, very easy, and the fans fucking hated it, right? They had to go back and make a hard mode, The
Black Edition?
Yeah, not the Black Edition, Ninja Gaiden 3 specifically. The one Itagaki, I don't think he was even involved with that one.
That's the one he didn't work out because I think that they felt like the game was not accessible to a lot of different fans. So what they did was they essentially, he made it easier, and it made people pissed.
Yeah.
But again, nobody was complaining about that, about how difficult
that wasn't. That wasn't part of the narrative back then. Yeah. That wasn't part of the narrative.
I feel like it's like a bunch of people that just grew up with easy games and forgot that games were fucking gonna kick your ass.
Yeah.
If you let them.
It's a bunch of people that got participation trophies.
I mean, again, I feel like, and me and Tony had talked about this before. We talked about this before, where it's like the PlayStation 2 era is sort of when that sort of began, and then like in the PlayStation 3 era, it's fully formed, where games don't punish you for dying, they don't do any of these sorts of things, and then there's every so often there's one of those guys that says, "Nah, game over is game over."
Yeah, but interesting thing, because the first Demon Souls, right? Not the first. It is the only Demon Souls, but the original one, right? When it came out, it was them going, "Yeah, we want to make hard games. We don't have these anymore."
Yeah.
Like that was literally one of the mantras that Miyazaki said. Like, "Yeah, we want to bring this back."
Dude, you remember before? And I'm gonna call back to a time when some of you may not remember. And this makes Elden Ring seem easy. Remember, there was a time when you only got to continue 3 times.
I remember, yeah. So you get 3 continues.
Do you remember when all of a sudden you had unlimited continues? You're like, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I don't have to. But then at the same time, those limited continues kind of came from like the arcade era, and it's someone made the right call. It's like, why are we doing this for consoles? This is stupid. Get rid of that.
Yeah, a lot of those things were inherited from the arcade era.
Which were designed to suck your money away.
Exactly. Yeah, I just love the whole I failed 3 times. What do I do now? Start over, Buttercup.
Oh man. And this is why I said, even though Cuphead is fucking brutal, unlimited continues. So in that sense, it's easier than those old games. You know?
Exactly. There's like you may end up having to go to the beginning of the level, but again, you still don't. Once you die or run out of all of your things,
Oh, it's not even that with that
Good.
game. It's like, there are levels and there are bosses. So when you die the boss, you go right back to the beginning where the boss. So it's not like the old days. You got to start the whole fucking game again. You got to beat those 3 bosses just to get to the guy that killed you originally.
Exactly. And then, like you had like for like games like Mega Man, you had your little code that literally puts you right back where you were. But
Yeah.
even for the code to get to Dr. Wily, right? You could only get a code that goes to the end of the game.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
still needed to go through Dr. Wily's castle. There wasn't a direct thing that just left you right there.
Yeah, I think I said this. The only time I was only able to beat the Mega Man games when the collection came out because I could save any time. If I know shit, go back. Those saves were fucking brutal.
Like originally, once you got to the final area of Dr.
That's
Wily,
it. You go there.
it. You needed to go there, and you still needed to go through all those levels.
Yeah. You had to go back there.
I still never beat Ghosts and Ghouls.
No, I don't. Yeah, neither have I.
I mean,
Neither have I. And that fucking speeder chase in fucking Battletoads never got past that shit. No,
here's the thing. I have.
But I have two, Brett. I have two with
only about
game.
Like 2 levels, and then you're like, you know what? Not fucking worth it.
Yeah, by the way, I'm wrong. I did get past that speeder bike chase with the fucking
you
game
died
genie.
after.
No, with the game genie. That's the only one was able to do that shit.
Yeah. You know what's worse than dying on that level repeatedly and finally giving up is dying on that level repeatedly, passing it, dying there, and being like, no, I'm not even gonna try and. I'm gonna try and do that speeder bike level again.
Yeah. Or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Konami one. Oh.
Yeah, the one. Yeah, doing the underwater part.
Oh yeah, that's still traumatized by that shit.
Well, you're gonna get that again with the Turtles collection.
All right, man. Let's move on. Where are we now? Black Metal Gamer. He's back. All right. What games have a heavy emphasis on parrying? Which do you feel do it well, and which ones do it poorly?
I remember Ninja Gaiden had it.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden had Sekiro. That was all parry all day, every day.
Parry.
Street Fighter 3. That had parrying.
New Kingdom Hearts was really about doing parries. 3 they started doubling down on parrying. You had to do it a lot.
Yeah, I've said this before. I don't like parrying in games. I'm trash at it. Although there's always exceptions. Ghost of Tsushima that had some great parrying. I got really good at that.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, but general, I'm not a fan of parrying. So yeah.
Tony is the type of gamer who'll literally run right into it and like use the hard button.
That's it.
That's if any I feel like even that's something you used to do when you play in fighting games. Like he'd always just use the hard buttons.
Yep. Yeah, because they take more energy. Yeah, middle and hard because they take more energy.
Why would you love tap when you have harder hitting options?
Exactly.
I would do my combos like.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you do your man. He's doing a combo. He's being all flashy. Then I hit him twice and he's dead.
Yeah.
Like
also, something I've noticed. Tony is essentially Leroy Jenkins.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh no, he'll run right in.
Yeah,
he's like, motherfucker, I'm going in.
Yeah, no, the instant the level, when we're playing together and shit, the instant the level loads up, I'm the first guy there. I'm like, yo, where you guys at?
Well, that's
I don't know. I'm looking up at the.
Nah, I'm just looking up. I'm trying to explore.
It goes to Tsushima. That's Tony. Like literally, he's the first guy going like he's running straight down the center.
Oh, I'm looking for a fight in that game.
Meanwhile, I'm Metal Gear Soliding in the background.
I remember we were playing the multiplayer and shit. It was me, Chris, Brett, and Manny, right? So Brett and Manny, they're being all stealthy and shit. Me and Chris are like, Leroy Jenkins.
Yeah, like,
you fucking up the whole plan,
Dude, killing guys like in coordination, like you take left, I take right, ready on 3, like go through we get through 4 sets of guys, and here come fucking these two just fucking hollering over the board like
we're just running with our swords over our heads like motherfucker.
Like, dude, wait for the signal. Tony's like, I saw a guy, that was my signal.
Exactly. Yeah, he was moving. Oh man, good stuff. What the hell was the question again? Parrying. Yeah, I don't fuck around parrying. Just let me go in there and hack and slash, bro.
I try and parry.
Let me hit you.
But then I try and parry in every Souls game.
I suck at
And
it.
I'm like,
I'm trash at
yeah,
it.
I'm like, hot parry, hot parry, hot parry. You know what? Fuck you. And then I start hitting him with, whatever weapon I'm maining that game.
That's how it is, man. All right, Black Metal. By the way, he asked us another question. I'm not even going to repeat it here because he wants to get us in trouble, so we're not going to answer that or even ask it. It's just about the current culture of gaming, but we're not going to get into that.
Just say it's bad.
By the way, Black Metal. Yeah, it is. It's trash now. I like how he asked one question with one account and then another question with a different account, but they both say Black Metal Gamer. So maybe wants an eviler version of him because the evil one is the one that asked.
Dark Metal.
Yeah, he's dark. yeah, dark metal. All right, so the final
Sounds
question.
like a subgenre of black metal.
Yeah, right. All right. Anyway, Chakzilla for the final question of the night. All right. Will we have a normal holiday gaming rush this year? Will we have a normal? Last year, most games were pushed to early this year, and that's when the big games dropped. What big games will make this holiday besides Starfield? I think developers might be waiting closer to the finish line before putting out releases to avoid the infinite delays that have become common. We kind of talked about this before. It's like this year's looking dry as fuck, So I don't even know what else is coming out this year besides Starfield. I know producers are going to be like, what about Ragnarok? We don't know about that. They claim it's coming out this year, but they said it was going to come out last year too. Look what happened. I'm not putting my money on that, as much as I would love to have that game.
I think people are avoiding Starfield.
Maybe. It's possible.
I mean, which would not be an incredibly stupid move, man. Like, we've seen games that come out in the shadow of other games, and we've had such a highly publicized
Horizon Zero
game.
Dawn.
Mm-hmm. And you see such a highly publicized game that, like, it already has its release date now.
Yeah.
So if you haven't announced your release date and you still have that wiggle room, are you really going to put in the shadow of Starfield?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm not even claiming whether or not that's a good idea or a bad idea. I mean, I personally don't think it's a great idea, but you do have to have some other games. Someone has to be that second game thing.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you guys. They're posting some games that are coming this year. So what do we have? New Pokemon, God of War. We'll see about that. Bayonetta ain't coming out this year. No fucking way. Gotham Knights. That's confirmed. October, I believe. Hogwarts. Yeah, that's coming out too. That's probably going to be a big game. Xenoblade 3. That's right. Nintendo fans will like that. Saints Row. Yeah, that is true. That's coming out.
Reboot, yeah.
Yeah. Forspoken, yeah, that's coming out. That got delayed, but it's coming out. Whatchamacallit. Midnight Suns, that's also coming out. Okay, so some games coming out. Granted, there's not many I care about there, but yeah, there's some games.
Wasn't Midnight Suns like a weird sort of game?
Yeah, it's a card battle game.
Yeah, card battle game.
Yeah, no. Fuck that. The Turtles games, I'm hyped.
Games.
What happened, Brett?
So there are always going to be other, like, we mean, like, literally no other games other than...
Yeah, we mean games we care about. Let's just be real
like,
here.
Well, for the most part, a lot of these are games that have either had their release dates announced for a while, or it's just high time for them to come up. Like, I don't know that there's a lot that you can do about Hogwarts Legacy, coming up around this time. But I also think that, like, that's a game a lot of people are going to be looking forward to, and I think you're going to have every year we have 3 or 4 big games. Like, even last time we had a few big games, didn't we?
For that time, yeah. I mean, we already had 2 big ones right now. We had Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring. Those are probably the big ones that came out so far.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Historically, when we look at this point in the console lifespan, is when the games start coming up, and I think that may be a little bit delayed, but we're still going to see some games coming out for holiday this year. I think next year's the big year.
Yeah.
Personally.
Kind of ironic because we thought this year was going to be the big year, but everything's been delayed again.
Yep. Well, I mean,
yeah.
Usually it's 2 years in, so I mean, really, we're only a year behind.
Yeah. Just Destiny, that doesn't count. That doesn't count.
No, I mean,
they came out already, by the way, but yeah, that don't count. Isn't there a new Call of Duty coming out this year?
Modern Warfare 2.
That's right. Yeah, that'll be big. It's Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. How they come out with one every year?
I know, but it is always the biggest selling game of the year. So.
No, I'm not saying that, but I thought we were talking about like this year compared to other years. So, like,
yeah.
The games that happen every year, like, I don't think we take those out of the pool.
Yeah. I don't know. This year, I'm not excited about it.
I'd say this is a standard year 2 holiday, even though it's technically year 3 holiday.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm personally not looking forward to a lot this year. Seems kind of weak, you know.
Yo, man, you jaded, son. You jaded.
Could be.
Because you're a bitter old man.
Yeah, or I just, they're just releasing games I don't give. Like, we got the Gotham game. Like, you don't have Batman. What the fuck do I care about that? You get the Midnight Suns card battle. I don't give a fuck about that. Anything Nintendo, I don't give a shit about. Starfield's probably it. Like, just because it's a space game, you know. And
space.
I like space, and despite what I've said, I actually do like Bethesda games. I like Fallout. I like, that's Fallout. That's it. I've never played Elder Scrolls, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, but you're not into the whole night stuff, though.
Medieval stuff. Yeah, I'm tired of that. It's got to be special, like Dragon Age.
Elder Scrolls actually was special. It's been a little vanilla out the last couple of times because of the air. Like putting him in the land of Vikings, like that is the most unoriginal land in the entire universe that you kind of created here. But I mean, sure, cool. Yeah,
but Starfield would be dope. I'm down with that.
Yeah, well, you're critical of Bethesda games. Doesn't mean you don't like them. Like,
exactly. Yeah, but Brett, you know how it is. It's just got to be black and white on the internet now. You know.
Dude, the irony is, like most of the things, at least with me, like if you're critical about them, it means you at least on some level like them. Because the shit that the opposite of love isn't hate; it's apathy. If I take the time to bitch about a movie, it's because I like that movie enough to bitch about it. Otherwise, I'm just like, I don't know.
What the fuck? The Dio Chronicle? What the hell is that? Ronnie James Dio? Like, is that
Ronnie James Dio?
Yeah, right. Ronnie James Dio. What are you talking about?
It's a JoJo thing.
Yeah,
I do gotta say, I'm interested in this Hogwarts game.
Oh, is that the fighting game? That's the remake. That's the fighting game. That's the remake.
Yeah, Mighty Nerd. What is this Dio Chronicle game you're talking about?
I think it's
Is it a JoJo game?
It's the re-release of the old JoJo game for PS3.
It's called Dio Field Chronicles.
Dio Field.
What the fuck is that? I don't know.
Let me check it out.
It has nothing to do with Ronnie James Dio, I'm guessing.
No, it's a Square game.
Oh my god, this thing.
Let me look this up because this sounds vaguely familiar. Let's look this up.
It's a turn-based strategy game, a la
the Dio. What is
Divinity.
this? Is it like Final Fantasy Tactics?
I don't know. Never played Tactics.
All right, I'm looking at the trailer right now. What is this? CG, Brian, CG trailer, as always.
Oh,
CG. Oh my god!
Well,
what
no,
the
they did.
Okay, yeah, this looks.
Gameplay.
Okay, there's gameplay. Yeah,
yeah, okay, I know what this
is. Yeah, this is like Final Fantasy Tactics. I don't care. Don't give a shit about that. All right. What else did you guys name in the chat here? Final Fantasy 16. If Final Fantasy 16 drops this year, that's my game of the year instantly. But that ain't coming this year. No fucking way.
That's your game of the year?
Oh, instantly. Final Fantasy 16, man.
15 wasn't your game of the year that year.
It was. It actually was.
Was it?
Are you
just
assuming, or like, do you know something? Like, that's big words for a game that you haven't played.
Yeah, but this is Final Fantasy. They kind of get a little bit of a pass from me, Although it's going to be hard to beat Elden Ring this fucking year, boy. I'm telling you that. But that game. But I'm just saying this because Final Fantasy 16, no way it's coming out this year. No fucking way. What else? Ragnarok. What happened, Brett?
Does anybody care about this Harry Potter game other than me? I'm like, I don't even like
I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck.
Like Manny, I remember Manny was talking about it during the show, and I think we were both kind of surprised by how much production there was.
Oh yeah, no, I will say that the game looks better than it has a right to look. But it's Harry Potter on the Harry Potter.
Oh yeah,
game.
the Harry Potter game. Yeah.
I don't even like Harry Potter though. Like that's the thing. I'm like, this game looks interesting. I only like Harry Potter, but like it looks interesting.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm like, this looks interesting, but I don't care about this world. Mm-hmm. And it feels like I need to. I would appreciate it more if I read those books, but watch the movies. I don't give a fuck. Like I'm too old for that shit. That's like beyond my age limit or whatever.
Oh
yeah. I don't think the books are like a mandatory thing, because if I'm not mistaken, this is like a couple hundred years before the books.
I think it's a prequel, yeah.
Yeah, but is it they're gonna have Easter eggs and all this other shit,
Obviously, Yeah, and I'm pretty sure at some point that like someone's going to like look at the camera and nod and wink and say Voldemort.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
So yeah,
I'm willing to bet my console that that's going to happen somewhere.
yeah. So Brian, I'm not saying you need to read that stuff or watch the movies to understand. I'm saying you would probably appreciate it more if you're a fan. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I don't give a fuck about Harry Potter, so I don't care about that game. Despite it looking pretty good, you know.
Looks very nice.
I'll give him that. It looks nice, but I don't care.
Very nice.
I'm just looking. Plague Tale. I didn't play the first one, so I don't care about that.
I was mildly interested in.
I have it because it was free, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, I think I might have it for a plus thing, but yeah, I've never actually played it.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the games listed here, and just giving you my personal take on it. The Quarry. I don't know what that is. Does anybody know what the Quarry is?
It's I thought like the pseudo sequel to what's that one? Something After Dawn. Yeah, After Dawn. That's it.
I don't.
You know that one on PS4 where like kids are in the lodge and is it After Dawn?
Until Dawn. Oh,
Until Dawn.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's like a spiritual successor sort
Made
of
by the
to
same,
that.
Gotcha.
made by the same company, right?
Yo, those
It's
guys.
those guys making the same game again.
Yeah, they like low key put out a lot of games. You know.
Well, Tony, they're all the same fucking game. That's
That is also true.
Yeah, this
like-
one is.
Then they
You
do
can
like,
literally,
you
you can splice
Milan.
gameplay
Yeah.
from like every single game that they've made, and it'd be very difficult to actually know like which one's which.
Yeah.
It's that bad. It's worse than Call of Duty, in my opinion.
Wow.
This one has what's his face from Scream, the officer. What the fuck is?
David Arquette.
David Arquette.
Wow,
Yeah, he's
they
in it.
dug him up. You know.
Yeah, he's in it, and he's in it.
Act
and
like
a
he was
couple-
dead.
I
couple
haven't
of
heard
other-
from this guy since Scream. You know.
I mean, he recently did another Scream film, actually.
Yep. No surprise there. He had nothing else going on. You know. The Quarry starting Amber Heard, co-starring Johnny Depp. You guys are bad, bro. You know. Yo, did you see Amber Heard? This bitch is doing coke during the fucking trial. Like, yo.
Yeah, she needs to. Yeah.
She
on,
literally did coke on it. Fucking trial. It was amazing. Like, fish, we
Wait, is
saw
that-
what you did. You know.
Well, we'll talk about it after the show. But
Yeah, I need
I
to
heard
hear
about it,
about
but
this later.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. And then somebody posted it, you know, Cat Williams like, you know, we can see what you're doing, right? It's on your nose.
Yeah, I mean, she's not doing she's not doing any service to herself by doing coke during a trial.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't believe anything she says, by the way. My boy Johnny, man. Team Johnny for life. You know? Although he's probably fucking Hollywood people in general just fucking weirdos.
They're fucking
You know?
weirdos.
Anyway, what are we talking about? Boy, anyway, games this year? I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, I mean, I bought the so far. I bought the game that my what I feel like will be my game of the year. Road to Yuma.
Oh, Trek to Yomi, you mean?
Trek to Yomi. Yeah, that
I still
one.
got to play it. I
That
bought it. I'm looking forward to
I got
playing
it
that.
too. I'm like, I can't wait
You
to
bought
play it.
it?
I just
Yeah, I bought it, yeah.
It's on Game Pass.
Yeah, but I want trophies, dude. You know me. I want my trophies.
and it's a a short experience.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, when
it's
Richard took-
normal.
Yeah.
It's normal game length.
Well, normal language 20 years ago, you mean? You know?
Normal 20-year-old game length where it's like 7 to 10 hours.
Yeah. It's in their new Sonic 3D game. No, it automatically get delisted from me. But I believe there is one. There's another. Is it Generations 2 or something?
I don't know. I haven't heard that. Oh no, it's the open world Sonic game. They call it Sonic of the Wild.
Oh God, that's right.
That's
I
what
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, they're calling it Sonic of the Wild. It's an
Is that
open
coming
world
this year?
Sonic game.
Yeah, because every
I
game's
don't know.
Breath of the Wild. You know.
No, I mean they're supposedly really going down the road of really doing a whole world for Sonic to run around.
Oh
in
my
now.
God, Sonic Frontiers.
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. See, it sounds like Breath of the Wild.
Oh my God, you skip that. How's a hard skip? Give me Sonic Mania 2. You know.
That's what to service that part of you. That's why they released the Sonic Collection one.
Yeah, exactly. You know, looking forward to that. Redfall, I don't care about that either. Multiplayer game, you know. Does anybody here care about that? Brett, I'm looking at you.
Never heard
Redfall?
of it.
The Bethesda game.
Redfall?
Yeah.
Isn't it like the vampire
Yeah, it's a
kind of
vampire
shooting
game. Yeah.
Oh, that thing. No, I don't care.
The one that we keep getting mixed up with the Vampire the Masquerade game.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Logic Win says this year is stacked as hell. Yeah, I mean, like Brett said, yes, obviously games are coming, but as you can see, maybe we are too jaded here. Not a lot of enthusiasm for these games.
I'm not seeing anything that really is really striking. I mean, other than the one I sort of mentioned, I'm not hearing anything that's really striking me as like, whoa, gotta play that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is Vampire Left 4 Dead, Drunken Guardian. It is. That's a fair assessment of it. Don't care. Maybe are we like being a bad video game podcast? Oh, we shouldn't be like, oh my god, these games are amazing.
Oh my god, you know what game? Every game is amazing. Yeah.
Well, no, it's okay. So it's not that the. I think the problem, to put a finer point on it, is there are games coming out. You don't generally see enough games for them to compete amongst themselves. Like if you really love RPGs, there's an RPG coming this year. Cool. Are there enough RPGs for there to be a selection? Like, no. So if you love all kinds of different games, sure, there are several games that you're going to find in the stack. But it's I wouldn't exactly call it a smorgasbord, right? Like,
yeah.
You're not going to starve. You're not going to feast so much either. But I'd hesitate to say it's better than last year.
I will agree with that.
Because
last year was pretty fucking dismal, But it's like objectively better, right? Because subjectively, I would say it's worse than last year. Because I'm like, there's less games that I care about this year than last year, and last year was fucking bad,
I think a big part of that is Hogwarts Legacy is taking up one of those big high-profile slots, man.
Yeah,
like that is coming in lieu of a game that would normally be.
I don't give a fuck about that. Isn't Forza Motorsport coming? There's a rumor, Brian, are you looking forward to anything, man?
There's not really much, to be fair. It's just kind of, again, it's lots of, it's mostly every year for me. There's just not anything that I give too much of a damn about.
Did you say you wanted to play the Hogwarts game though?
I guess the only things I genuinely have an interest in is Starfield and possibly the Hogwarts game. Everything else is kind of just like, no. Again, like the Redfall one, I just remember seeing the trailer and just thinking, it's one of these types of games. Yeah, and everything else is just kind of like, it is not for me, and that is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's again. It's just lots of. It's not for me, but that's fine. And it seems like the RPG guys are really eating well this year. By the sounds of it, there's lots of stuff. So great for them. Again, racing fan. There's just not much happening. There's meant to be a Need for Speed this year, but I honestly have no hopes for it because the last couple have just been a bit flat. So I think this will also be flat. Unless somehow EA decides to do the right thing and do Underground 3, but then knowing them, they'll make Underground 3, but they'll update it for modern audiences. So
here we go.
So yeah, I just have no interest. Again, they just need to just say Burnout, whatever, just Burnout. There we go. 2023, everyone's happy again. Simple.
Okay. All right, man. Another good show. I think we're done here. Do we have anything to plug? By the way, Jay Shep, he asked us in the comments. I replied to him, but I'll say it again. No, Mr. Manny cannot show you what he's working on under NDA.
I cannot talk. I cannot talk about. You may see me working, but I cannot talk or anything about what I am currently working on until the release. Yeah. So yes.
And obviously, Manny, I don't want to speak for you, but obviously, when you can, you'll probably do a Throwdown draws for the fans because they always enjoy those.
Yeah, usually, like if anything, like if anything, like if it's like a, I'll do a Throwdown draws just for the fun of it, just so I can, go get out there and draw something, or if I'm maybe prepping for a con, I might do one then. But unfortunately, I can't really share a lot of the stuff that I do normally, just because like it's stuff that's coming out in the future.
Yeah, he says he enjoys your work.
Oh, thank you. I wish I could post more, but most of my time is spent making things for other people.
All right, man. Carlos, did you have anything to plug?
We're gonna record I forgot what the name is always. Spoiler cast, spoiler alert, one of those. But the coalition. We're gonna talk about the new movie, the new hot movie that is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And I definitely have thoughts about that that might be controversial.
We might be talking about it after this show.
We might be talking about it after the show. I know Manny is going to be in on it. It's probably going to be
that's on my birthday, so we'll see. Is that Sunday you're saying?
It's next weekend, and more than likely we always record on Saturdays. It's rare that we record on Sundays, but I don't know, to be honest.
Sunday's my birthday, and the 14th I'm actually doing a convention out in New Jersey, so I'm probably not going to be there.
So we are definitely not going to be joined by Mr. Manny.
No, I won't be there. I'll be there in spirit. I'll be like there in spectral form, like Doctor Strange.
He'll be there. He'll definitely be there in spirit, like Luke was in that fight.
Okay.
So yeah, make sure to stay tuned and check that review out on thecoalition.com. And just to give a shout out to Adam, you can watch I Am Negan if you guys are interested in Fear the Walking Dead, which is going on right now, which is Adam Vale and Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. from thecoalition.com. And that's I Am Negan on all your podcasting apps like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or The Coalition on YouTube. So if you guys want to catch up on Fear the Walking Dead, make sure to check out I Am Negan.
Yeah. Brett, you have anything to plug?
I'll be at the Kansas City Villain Arts Tattoo Convention.
Yes, you do.
Weekend of the 20th through the 22nd.
Ooh, very cool. All right, we'll make sure you keep plugging that until we get to that time, sir. All right. All right, man. We're done here, so make sure you follow Throwdown on Twitch and Twitter. Join the Discord, and you can listen to us on the podcast app on the planet. Throwdown Show, throwdownshow.com to listen to previous episodes. And if you have been watching us on YouTube, you enjoyed the content, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when new premieres go live. Links to everything are down below. Once again, I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time.
Carlos Romero.
Peace out.
Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
And Brian Manjoma.
Later, people.
All right, guys, you already know. Thursday. Later.
Laters.